Hi there, I'm Ollie, and my crush rejected me because I'm younger than her. Now, I'm dating her older sister. Before anything else, remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell icon to show your support for me. Ella and I met when we were just toddlers. Our parents were good friends, and they would often schedule playdates between us. Often with Ella's older sister Zoe watching us. I realized I had a crush on Ella when I was about 8. But when I was younger, I had no self-esteem to speak of. I was a quiet, shy kid, and I kept whatever I was thinking and feeling to myself. I spent years just watching my crush. So close, but seemingly a world away. She was always doing some amazing stuff. Whether it was getting into ballet school, traveling with her parents, performing in front of an audience of hundreds, or winning as prom queen. Ella slowly became someone seemingly out of reach. But I knew I had to give it a shot. I've always heard people say that age is just a number, and I thought that was some kind of rule. I really believed it. I never thought that her being a couple of years older than me would matter. So when I decided to get up the courage to ask her out before her graduation, what she said to me really hit me hard. I don't really like guys who are younger than me. You're all so immature. I'm way past boys. I date men now. And besides, I'll be in college soon, where there'll be college boys. What do you think the girls there would say if they found out I was dating someone in high school? Ugh, how embarrassing. It already gives me the shivers. Go pick on someone your own age. And just like that, Ella disappeared from my life. She went off to college and never talked to me again. In the meantime, I had 2 more years to finish high school. And during that time, Ella's sister and I hung out a lot. Zoe dropped out from college and was living with her parents again. Because of this, Ella looked down on her. She would often call her Dropout Zoe or Leech. I don't remember when Ella became so mean. It must have been a slow transformation, since I've always known her to be soft-spoken and kind. Whenever Zoe would get a phone call from her sister, her mood would change. She'd get sad and depressed. I would tell her everything was gonna be okay, and that she should just focus on the things that she liked to do. Zoe was really good with computers. Most of the time, what she talked about went over my head. I would just nod and listen really intently, even though I had no idea what all of it meant. Because I could see that that was Zoe's passion. Whenever she talked about the code she's writing, her eyes would light up and she'd look really, really beautiful. Even more than her sister. That's how I realized I never felt the same way about Ella. I never actually liked her. I just admired her for the things she'd accomplished. I never loved her. But I loved Zoe. In those 2 years we spent together, I got to know her. And before I left for college, I asked her out. She said yes. It was really tough because we were apart for a lot of the time. Zoe found a nice job in town which kept her busy. And there were lots of girls in college. None of them were as interesting and as awesome as her, though. Whenever I could, I'd drive down from my campus and we'd hang out. Sometimes she'd drive up and surprise me at school. And on holidays, I made sure I spent a lot of time with my girlfriend. That's how 4 years of my life went. Luckily, it all worked out between us. And on my college graduation, it made me really happy when I saw her seated beside my parents. 2 years after landing a stable job, I proposed to her. And I couldn't believe my luck when she said yes. Unfortunately, that news reached Ella, and apparently she was not happy about it. She came home as soon as she heard and sat her sister and I down to talk. Why would you want to marry him? Him, of all people! You know he tried to ask me out, right? Besides, what's he gonna feed you? You're already stuck in a dead-end job, typing around on your silly laptop. You have no real career! And now you're gonna marry some entry-level, low-income loser like him? I mean, come on! You're like, what, 6 years older than him? That's ridiculous! People are gonna call you a cougar! I found it all so ridiculous. I couldn't help but actually laugh. But tell us how you really feel, though. Whatever. You've been warned. Why don't you be more like me, Zoe? Look at you. You still live at home. I have my own apartment now. And my own car. and a boyfriend more famous than either of you could imagine. Yeah, sure. She was dating a real famous politician who picked her up at the theater she was performing at one night. In front of everyone else, Grant was Mr. Perfect. And yet, the stories she told me when Zoe wasn't there didn't paint him in such a great light. And whenever they visited, I saw how he acted around her, and how he treated her. Ella texted me every night since my proposal. She would try to call me, but I'd always ignore it. In her text, she'd complain about her boyfriend, how he's always away, and how she feels lonely, how she wished I could come visit her. Yep, she wasn't subtle. The moment she heard I'd proposed, she launched Operation Get Ollie. Unfortunately for her, I wasn't interested in her in the least. I loved Zoe, and Zoe was always going to be the one I was going to marry. But my boyfriend's so annoying now. Just dump my sister already. Then I can date you. I'm sick of Grant. He's always flying off to party somewhere and he doesn't care about me. He's selfish and narcissistic, and all he wants to do is go secretly paintballing with his frat bros from college. He's been to more tailgates than he's taken me out to dinner. He blames me for anything that goes wrong at his work, and he blames everyone else for everything else. Seriously! Funny how she told me I was immature for being a couple years younger than her. But she couldn't see that she was the one being immature now. And she was dating an even more childish person than her. No matter how many times Ella tried to make me take her out on a date, I simply waved her off or made up an excuse. And when she really wouldn't stop, I straight up said I was gonna marry her sister and that she should just be happy for us. I don't know what possessed her, but the next thing Ella did was run to her sister. She told Zoe I'd been flirting with her. She thought she could break us up that easily. Where's the evidence? If you're telling Zoe I'm flirting with you, why don't you show her the texts? Right. You haven't really shown me any proof. So give me your phone. Why would I give you my phone? That's private property. And besides, I'm your sister. You have to believe me. You know I know better than you. I have a successful career and a successful relationship. What do you have? Well, if you're not gonna show her, I will. I gave Zoe my phone, and by reading it, she uncovered the truth. Ella still didn't give up, though. See? He's been texting me. He's already cheated on you. I can read, Ella, and it's plain as day that you're the thirsty one. Why don't you do us a favor and get lost? Oh, and by the way, don't bother coming to the wedding. I won't be sending you an invite. In truth, Ella had already lost her job. We found out a week later when a scandal about her and her famous boyfriend got into the news. Turned out, Grant was already married, and he had 3 children he'd been dodging. He hadn't paid any child support for years. Instead, he used his money to party and pay for Ella's shopping sprees. Ella got fired months ago. She stopped going into work thinking her life was made, thinking she'd found someone who would pay for everything she wanted. It turned out, neither of them got what they wanted, and Ella had to move back into her parents' house. As the wedding drew closer, Zoe and I moved into our new house that she bought. See, it only took one successful software for Zoe's company to skyrocket, and Zoe was in charge of that project. She got promoted and got a massive bonus. Now she's even richer than Grant ever was. I'm not ashamed that my wife earns more than me, and Zoe always makes it a point to assure me that we are always equals no matter what. That's why I love her. On our wedding day, everything was perfect. The sun was out and Zoe was more beautiful than ever. Right as we were about to exchange vows, the doors to the venue burst open. It was Ella. She had crazy hair and even crazier eyes. Stop this wedding! Absolute silence, until one guest in the back yelled out, "You're late! We're past that part already!" Everyone laughed, but Zoe was not deterred. She ran down the aisle and brandished a bucket of what looked like red paint as she yelled, "You can't have him! You'll never have him!" And then one of Zoe's bridesmaids tackled her. It wasn't paint. Fish guts flew into the air and covered everything. Panic broke out. But before Ella could say another word, security cuffed her and escorted her away. We had to relocate outside, but even after all that, Zoe and I got married. Gross smells hung around, but it didn't matter to us. It was still our special day, and no amount of Ella's stunts would ever change that. The best thing was, Zoe and Ella's parents made sure that Ella cleaned up the mess she made after the ceremony was over, and she had to pay a massive fine to the venue for the damages. Zoe is CEO of her company now, and I just recently got promoted as well. We're expecting our first baby in a few months, and I just couldn't be happier that Ella rejected me that day. Rejected